I opened my pay stub and saw it said 075 an hour. He thought I would break from the embarrassment, Ispe. I'm Nathan, a software engineer living in Boise, Idaho. I am going to share a story about a time I had to make a tough decision. I stared at the numbers on the slip, a burning sensation traveling up my neck. 75 cents. That was my pay rate after years of loyalty. After pulling this company out of a difficult spot, it wasn't an error. It was an intentional act of contempt, a deliberate and sharp jab. My so-called manager leaned back in his fancy chair when he handed it to me, his eyes glinting with the type of cruelty men show when they believe they have already won. "The market's tough," he said, "but don't worry, just stick around. Something better might come along." I didn't reply. He took my silence for surrender, but it was actually a moment of careful planning. A couple of years ago, when I first joined the firm, I admired him, a man with a sharp wardrobe, a smooth talker, someone who claimed that loyalty was more important than profit. He'd shake your hand and look you in the eye, and you'd trust him. I did. I trusted him when he said we were building something together. I trusted him when he assured me, "Your hard work won't go unnoticed." I trusted him enough to work late nights, to miss meals with my mother when she was still full of life, still laughing. Now she was in a hospital bed with wires clinging to her weak body like parasites. Bills were stacked on my counter like bricks pressing against my lungs. And this man, this snake, handed me an insult on company paper. I had noticed the change months before. My projects were reassigned. My invitations to meetings were lost. New employees sat in positions of power, above me, with sly smiles and quick promotions. But the pay stub, that was the final proof. This wasn't carelessness. It was a confrontation, and he had no idea I had already prepared for it. Years before, when I first began, I was the one who designed the financial systems for routing, reporting, and tracking. My fingerprints were on every financial record, every transaction, every hidden account, set up for tax savings. He believed I abandoned that code when I got promoted. He was mistaken. I left behind secret entrances, concealed triggers and safeguards buried so deep that not even his auditors could detect them. It was a form of protection, not for him, but for me. So when I looked at that pay stub, I didn't get angry. I didn't protest. I simply nodded, put the offensive slip in my pocket, and left his office like a defeated man. He smirked as I walked away. Good. Let him. That evening I went home, sat by my mother's bed, and held her delicate hand. The medical machines beeped in a steady rhythm. She whispered, "Don't let them crush you." I kissed her forehead, promised her I wouldn't, and then I opened my laptop. It all began with a single command hidden inside a routine audit file I had sent to myself a couple of years ago. One click and the system began to fall apart. Not chaotically, but with precise control. Money moved quietly in patterns that made it seem as if his own hand was pulling the strings. Fake accounts, international bank accounts, and phony contractors with names taken from obituaries. Each transfer was small enough to go unnoticed by alarms, yet large enough to gain momentum. I watched the numbers change like the tides. 1 hour later, $1.2 million had drained from his business into my network. The call started shortly after. First his assistant with a shaky voice. "There's an issue with payroll, some discrepancies." Then him. His voice was steady, but I could hear it. The faint tremble of a man who feels the ground crumbling beneath him. "Did you access the system?" he demanded. I let the silence hang until it became uncomfortable. "I only earn 75 cents an hour, remember?" I said before hanging up. The true genius of a trap is timing. You don't trigger it too soon. You let them fall into it, get comfortable, and feel secure. So I didn't take everything at once. I let more money drain hour by hour, his safety net shrinking while he desperately tried to find the leak. Each morning I showed up for work with a straight face and a straight tie. He avoided my gaze, now consumed by panic. His confidence had vanished, his voice becoming more demanding with everyone else. I watched and waited. The confrontation happened sooner than I anticipated. He stormed into my cubicle, sweat on his forehead. "You think you're smart?" he spat. "You'll be ruined with me if you continue this game." Finally, I looked him in the eye, calm and steady. "I am already ruined. You put me there." His face twisted, but I saw it, the flash of fear behind his anger. He had no idea what I had taken, how far it went, or how much more I could extract. That uncertainty was my greatest asset. I didn't destroy him in one blow that would have been a kindness. I made him suffer slowly. His accounts were frozen without warning, his business partners backed out of deals, and government agencies began investigating transfers that looked a lot like fraud. He had no idea that half of it was planned. And through it all, I kept my disguise. The underpaid, overlooked worker, invisible, the ideal ghost. Weeks later, he was gone, forced out, his reputation ruined and bankrupt. Me? I resigned with a simple email. My final paycheck still said 75 cents an hour. I chuckled as I closed it. My mother's medical bills are paid now. Her room is filled with fresh flowers, her nurses are well compensated, and her comfort is assured. She occasionally asks me how work is going. I smile and say, better than ever. Because work isn't just about a job. What lesson did you learn from this story? Please let me know in the comments.